Let me ask you, since losing your gallbladder or having digestive issues, have you ever sat down to eat something with healthy fat, like an avocado, olive oil, or coconut milk, and then felt the cramps or the bloating or the bathroom emergencies? Well, you're not alone. For many of us, fats feel like the hardest part of life after gallbladder removal, and even sometimes before. But here's the twist. Fats are not your enemy. In fact, fats are sacred. They are carriers of the most life-giving nutrients, vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are all fat-soluble, the very ones that control your hormones, your bones, your mood, your energy, and your immunity. So without them, you don't just struggle with digestion, you struggle with healing itself. So today we're going to unravel this together. We'll go back into history where fats were seen as holy, even offered to God as the choicest part of a sacrifice. We'll dive into the science of fat soluble vitamins, why spacing your fat throughout the day is the key, and what that actually means to thriving without a gallbladder. And then we'll step into Ayurveda, where oil, Sneha, is more than nourishment. It literally means love. By the end of this episode, you're going to see fats in a whole new way. You'll walk away with practical strategies, my favorite healing fats, herbs, and practices to help you actually digest them, and a fresh perspective that just might change how you care for your body and soul after gallbladder removal. So stay with me because this episode could unlock the missing piece in your healing journey.
Gallbladder gone. Now what? Let's heal from the inside out.
Welcome to Gallbladder Gone? Now what? The podcast for Christian women navigating life after gallbladder removal. Hosted by Jami McQuivey, holistic nutritionist, wife, boy mum, grandma, and a firm believer in God's design for lasting health. Did you know that over 1.2 million Americans have their gallbladders removed every year, and that the majority of them are women? Even more eye-opening is that all gallbladder issues are digestive issues. And poor digestion is at the root of up to 80% of all disease, including hormone imbalances and weight struggles. While Jami isn't a doctor and this podcast isn't medical advice, she shares real solutions rooted in research, experience, and God's Word. Let's get practical, biblical, and real, one step at a time.
Welcome back, friends. So in the Bible, in James 5:14, it says, "Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church and let them pray over him. Anoint him with oil in the name of the Lord." So oil has always been more than food. It's love, healing, and God's touch poured out over us. So I want to tell you about this client I had. We're going to call her Katie, who came to me after gallbladder surgery, and she would say, "Jami, every time I eat anything with fat, like avocados or olive oil, you name it, I just feel like I've swallowed a brick. It just sits there, and then I'm bloated and swollen. So I've just sworn off fat altogether." And when I heard this, I had to laugh because our body disagrees. Because without fat, we're running on empty. So I taught her what I'm about to teach you. So we'll dive in. And then when I'm finished telling you about all the stuff, I'll finish with Katie's story. So the first part where it all begins, let's start here. In scripture, fat was never treated as something to be feared. So that is a modern day thing. The Bible teaches us that fat is the richest part of the sacrifice, a sign of blessings and abundance and wholeness. Now, our ancestors instinctively knew that fat carried with it life. They knew how important this was. It wasn't, they didn't go to counting macros and how many carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are we getting. They just knew instinctively that this carried life. So in Ayurveda, which is one of the oldest traditions in the world, they teach the same truth. Oil is used as medicine. So literally when I say medicine, so they will have medicated ghees. Ghee is fat, and I'll explain a little bit more about what that is. But they would literally put herbs in it so it could, as you take it, it goes right to the fat, right? Because that's where fat likes to store in the cells and in the muscles and the tissues. So it's something that they have lots of different medicated ghees and oils as part of a healing protocol. It was also used in ritual and in love, all in one. So this is the Sanskrit word Sneha literally means oil and love. It's the same word. So to be anointed with oil was to be covered with love and protection and nourishment. So when we talk about eating fat today, I want you to remember this. You're not just feeding your body calories. We often talk about calories, which is just a measurement of heat and energy. But what we're doing is we're talking about receiving one of the most ancient gifts of nourishment. And this is one that they've always tied to abundance, vitality, and even holiness. So what does the science say about this? So we have two different types of vitamins, I guess. We have water soluble and we have fat soluble. So water soluble is going to be like your B's and your C's, right? Or B and your C. And so you can have as much as you want, and our body will use what it needs and then it'll flush it out. Well, vitamins A, D, E, and K are fat soluble. And so this means our bodies literally cannot absorb the vitamins A, D, E, and K without fat. We have to have the fat to digest and absorb these. I wish I had known these because, I mean, how many of us here that have been struggling are vitamin D deficient? And we don't even know if we're A, E, or K deficient, but so many of us are on these high amounts of vitamin D, and it's getting crazy. So, what are these vitamins? What do they do? So, vitamin A is something that sharpens our vision and strengthens our immune system. Vitamin D, we know, balances hormones. It helps also build bones and lifts our mood. Vitamin E protects our cells and slows us from aging. And vitamin K helps your blood clot and your bones stay strong. So you can see each one of these is incredibly important, especially as we age. And so I know that we talked a little bit about vitamin E in my interview with Sue Becker. So go back and listen to that about grains being an extremely important, playing an extremely important role in getting vitamin E. So here's the problem. After gallbladder removal, bile doesn't get stored and released in those pulses, those squirts anymore. So it's just kind of trickling constantly. So this means that when you eat a big meal that is loaded with fat, your body can't keep up. So it can't emulsify, which is like, breaking it down. And we can't absorb the nutrients. And this is when we get those symptoms of cramping, diarrhea, or like that heavy, sluggish, even needing to take a nap. Like I've had it before so bad, or I eat something and I have to go sleep. Not like, oh, it would be nice to take a nap. It's like my body kind of just would shut down and be like, I'm done here. And so this is not something the way we want to live our lives, right? So there is good news. So you don't have to give up fat. You just have to retrain your rhythm. Now, this again, this podcast is for those without a gallbladder, but it's also for those who may be struggling and on their way to losing a gallbladder. So if you're about to lose your gallbladder, it's probably because you have a problem with your liver, which we talk about a lot, and you're not being able to digest and absorb these fats if you're having a problem with the gallbladder. So this is important information for everyone in this situation. So I want you to think about how we need to deliver this fat. So think of your digestion as a funnel, right? If you dump in too much at once, then it just overflows, right? But if you drip it slowly in there, it flows smoothly. So that's how fats need to be eaten after gallbladder removal. Small amounts spread out every few hours. So I do it with my meals. So I make sure I have those good fats. So here's kind of what it might look like. So you wake up in the morning and you have some warm oatmeal for breakfast, and you're just going to stir in a teaspoon of ghee in warm water, or sorry, in warm water, in warm oatmeal, and enjoy it. It's actually really tasty, really delicious. And let's say for lunch, you're going to have, a salad. And so you're going to just drizzle a little olive oil over your salad, not much. And then maybe for dinner, you're gonna have some soup and then just put a little spoonful of coconut oil in it. And suddenly we're spreading this oil out, right? Now we'll get to why these oils and the how things that we can take with our meals to help us also digest that. Even though it's a little teaspoon, that's still a lot for our bodies to try to digest. All right, so this gentle rhythm does allow for the bile to keep pace, right? So you actually absorb these fat soluble vitamins instead of losing them. So I like to add lecithin to each meal, and we'll talk about that. Whenever I will let you know that like lecithin and a couple other products that I suggest. If you go into the show notes, there is a link for the no gallbladder Gallbladder Gone Now What full script. Um, it's like a shopping cart that has everything I talk about. And now you don't have to get everything in there, right? But it's all listed there, and then you can choose what you want to try and see what works for you. So, some of my favorite healing fats, in fact, I just did this for my students today and last Thursday. We were talking about um, lipids. And they asked me, well, which ones do we use? Because there's so many that are just not great. So I go to history for this. So historically, there are three oils, well, four, but I'm going to explain. Well, I don't eat one, but tell you how I use it. But there's three that I eat and four that I have, right? So this is going to be super important because they've been used for centuries and millennia. So the first one is olive oil. And they called this one liquid gold by the ancients. So this is very rich in antioxidants. It's very gentle on digestion and is deeply protective. With that said, you need to choose a very high quality olive oil. We have a place here called Redstone, but there are other olive oil stores. So they did a study where they took a whole bunch of olive oils from different stores and they tested them, and all of them were rancid and or not. They only had a little bit of olive oil and the rest was canola oil. And so if you want to use olive oil as a healing agent, which we're trying to do, you want a really good high quality olive oil. All right, my second one is ghee. It's spelled Ghee. Now, this is a clarified butter that is celebrated in Ayurveda. So, it strengthens digestion, it strengthens immunity, and is considered a carrier for herbs. Like I mentioned before, they'd have all these herbs and all these protocols, and they would put them into the to ghee, and it would help them penetrate deeper into the tissues. So I love this one. So olive oil, we don't cook with olive oil. Don't ever cook with olive oil. You get that good olive oil, don't cook with it. That's one that you can just drizzle on a little bit of bread or on your veggies or salads. Ghee, because it has such a low smoke point. And when that smoke point comes, that's toxin. That's turning it rancid. That's turning it into something that's not great. So ghee has a higher smoke point. So you can cook with that one a little easier. My third is coconut oil. Again, a really good quality coconut oil. Making sure that it's not a knockoff is super important. So with its medium chain triglycerides, it is easier to digest and perfect for those of us without strong bile flow. So soon I will be doing a podcast on a liver gallbladder cleanse, and we can use coconut oil a lot easier. So we have to just tweak things a lot. So we can thrive again if we don't have a gallbladder. That's totally fine. But we may just need to make some tweaks here and there, and that's what I'm here to help you do. The fourth one that I don't usually take internally, but I absolutely love is castor oil. And so this is really not what I consider for eating. People do use it as a purgative, which means, like in a cleanse and it helps you really go to the bathroom. But this is what I apply it externally as a castor oil pack over the liver. And this is the best therapy for the nervous system, lymph, and detox pathways. I'm telling you, I came home from visiting my son and his wife, and I don't take my castor oil pack there because I mean it's gonna make the sheets kind of yucky or whatever. I just don't want to stain things because it is pretty viscous. And so I got home and I got out of the rhythm and I was having a hard time sleeping and I was like, what is going on? I usually can sleep pretty good. And then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't been putting on my castor oil pack. I put on my castor oil pack. I sleep so good, so deep. And my body feels so good. So and we'll do more about castor oil packs. I'm hoping to have a guest on that. So stay tuned, subscribe, make sure that you don't miss these things coming up as I start doing interviews with people and really getting you help for, um, and hopefully more tips and tricks and maybe some discounts on some things. So hang in there. All right. The herbs that I suggest for fat digestion. Now, each one of these is click the link and you can go over and you can look at it and order it from there from Full Script. And so the Ayurveda has such beautiful tools for this season of life. I'm telling you, if you struggle to digest fat, here are some practices and herbs to try. So the first thing is you're going to take it's something called trikatu. Now, in the link, they're going to call it Kapha Digest. And so it's a blend of ginger, black pepper, and long pepper. And this sparks that bile flow and it helps to break things down. Now, it's heating. And so if you struggle with some heat conditions, if you're too hot, if you have a lot of fire in you, like diarrhea and things like that, we probably don't want to go for trikatu. But if you really feel like you need to get that digestion, a kickstart, trikatu is amazing. The second thing is lecithin. I have learned to love lecithin in actually the past year. I didn't know much about it and I started really incorporating it and I really like it. It's kind of bland, so it doesn't have a lot of taste, so it fits well into soups. You could just even mix it with water and drink it. I put it in my smoothies when I put all my seeds in there. It helps me really digest those fats. It's so amazing. So it emulsifies those fats, and so they can be dispersed in water and more easily digested and assimilated. The next thing is CCFT, and I just did a podcast on that. So look for that. It's cumin, coriander, and fennel tea. I'll put the link to the podcast in the show notes, and then you don't have to look for it. I can't remember what the title was. So this is something that will, between meals, if you're drinking it, will help gently cleanse and heat up and digest. And so when you're eating your meal, your body is ready. Now, just remember, cold drinks shut down bile flow. So I see this all the time, and it kills me for anyone, even if you have your gallbladder and there's no problems. Um, Stop drinking cold drinks. I mean, even this is one of those things for years and years and years, like I want to say for 20 years, 25 years, I've not had cold drinks because of this, right? Because I learned this kind of early on. But when I was in China, they only serve warm drinks where we were. I mean, every once in a while you can go to a specialty store and get like a ice cream drink or whatever, but with every meal it was hot water. It was something that was hot. And my family started to get used to it. I was like, yeah, it really is making a difference. So only ever drink Every time I go somewhere, and now it's getting more popular, but I'm telling you, for 20 years, people would look at me like I was crazy. But I just, when they ask, what would you like to drink? I say, a little mug of hot water and lemon, please. And usually they're like, sure, bringing that right up. So making sure that avoid cold drinks, especially if you have digestive issues. Now, the last practice I want to talk to you about is what we call in Ayurveda external oleation. And that's a fancy name for putting oil on your skin, right? And so this is literally, I will take, um, it's called Abhyanga, and you take a lot of oil. And I mean, they take a lot of oil. They take about like a half cup. I've only ever been able to use a quarter cup. And I get a towel down on the bathroom floor, and for like 20 minutes, you massage yourself. I literally from head to toe, get the scalp in there, get the ears, all the way down to between your toes and fingers, whole body, as much oil as it will hold, and then just kind of let it soak in for a little bit. And then you hop in the shower, a hot shower, so your pores open up and they drink in this fat. And oh my goodness. But then when you get out, you don't use soap. You just open up those pores and let it, you know, drink, if you will. And then when you get out, you just pat yourself dry, and you'll still be a little bit, maybe a tiny, tiny bit oily, and you'll just let your skin continue to absorb it. And so what this does, and so we do it with warm sesame oil, not toasted sesame oil. We don't want you to smell like Asian food. Um, but we can use warm sesame oil, warm coconut oil, and there's even some oils that are medicated, and I could put those if find some of those and put them in the link to the full script, and then and then you can go to sleep. But the people do it in the morning. I like to do it before bed because it really calms me down. Maybe some good music and kind of like a self-care type of thing. Now remember that Sneha means oil, but it also means love. So when you nourish yourself with oil, whether it's on your skin, in your food, or through gentle practices, you're sending your body and your nervous system a message. And it says, I'm safe and I'm cared for and I'm loved and I can really calm down in this space. So it brings even that vata mind that can be I can't focus on things. Things are, I feel scattered, and it kind of brings you down and really grounds you. So the truth is that we can all thrive without a gallbladder. It just takes some learning and rhythm of your body, honoring fats as sacred and letting love or sneha be your guide. So let me go back to Katie. So you remember Katie at the beginning. So we started simple. So instead of loading all her fat into one meal, what we did is we spread it out. So there was a teaspoon of ghee in that morning oatmeal, a drizzle of olive oil on her lunch salad, and she's taking her herbs with this and making sure that she's breathing nice and deep and calm when she's eating, and that spoonful of coconut oil in her evening soup. And so this is where it got fun. So she started doing the nightly ritual with the warm sesame oil and just really balancing her nervous system. And so she told me, Jami, I totally felt silly at first that like giving myself a full-on massage at night, rubbing oil all over my arms and belly. But then she realized something that if Sneha means oil and love, she was literally massaging love into herself. And it made her feel very grateful for her body. Some of us can be, when we've experienced chronic illness, can be angry at our bodies, like it failed us somehow. But I can assure you that is not the case. It has done its absolute best to keep us alive and healthy and thriving. We just didn't know what it needed at the time, and now you do. So when we know better, we do better. So a few weeks later, she came back and we were on the Zoom, and she was glowing. Her skin was brighter, her mood was lighter, her digestion was smoother. And she said, turns out that fat wasn't her enemy, and it was her missing love language. So that is the beauty of oil. It nourishes our mind and our body and our spirit, and it's really love in action. And so, friend, if you're struggling with fats after gallbladder removal, you're not broken. You are still beautifully designed to heal. Spread your fats out, choose healing oils, lean into Ayurvedic wisdom and herbs, and remember you are worthy of nourishment. So, oil isn't just about how much you eat, it's about how and when you use it. It's rooted in ancient wisdom, confirmed by science, and reflected in sacred text. So, um, the beautiful truth is that when you nourish with the right oils, you don't just feed the body. You unlock better digestion, deeper hormone balance, steadier moods, glowing skin, and even a calmer nervous system. So in Ayurveda, every time you take healthy fats or anoint your skin with oil, you are literally covering yourself with love on the inside and the outside. So remember, all of this wisdom and so much more is waiting for you in my DIY class, where you'll discover your divine design and God's plan for keeping you healthy and energetic and resilient. I keep it simple, practical, and incredibly effective. So click the link in the show notes and start right now. Because Jim Rohn said indecision is the greatest thief of opportunity. So thank you for joining me today. Until next time, stay nourished, stay anointed, and stay aligned with the way that you were divinely designed. Happy digesting.
If this episode encouraged you or offered practical insight, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Leaving a review, subscribing, and sharing with even one friend helps more people discover this message, and Jami is truly grateful for your support. Be sure to check the show notes for free downloads, helpful resources, and a link to join Jami's private Facebook group for extra support and community that blends practical health with biblical truth. Just a reminder, Jami isn't a doctor, so always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your health plan.